In a video I created a few days ago, I go into the topic of the 400-year prophecy as documented in the book of Genesis. During that discussion, I pointed out its connection to a verse mentioned by Yeshua in the Gospel of Luke, in Luke chapter 21. However, a commenter, in response to my video, left a comment expressing a different viewpoint. The commenter stated that the verse in Luke is a prophecy about the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans under Titus, and the prophecy to Abraham was about the Jews going into captivity under the Egyptians and Moses delivering them, and they left with great wealth as they took the Egyptians' gold and silver, and they stated that I was incorrect and that these two verses were not correlated. So is he right? So they were right about the 70-year AD prophecy being fulfilled, but they are incorrect when they say the two verses aren't related. So let's get to the bottom of this and let's read Genesis chapter 15 starting with verse 13. And he said unto Abram, Know for a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they will come out with great substance. And I said that was related to Luke chapter 21 verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things that are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and they shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So the commenter said that Luke 21 was fulfilled in 70 AD, and the 400-year prophecy was fulfilled in Egypt. We should be able to answer these questions quickly without much trouble. They say you should never answer a question with another question, but sometimes it's a must. And the question we should ask is the Exodus from Egypt the only Exodus written about in the Bible? And the answer is Jeremiah chapter 16 verse 14. Therefore behold, the days come, says the Most High, that it shall no more be said, the Most High lives, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Most High lives, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all lands where he had driven them. And I will bring them again to their land that I gave to their fathers. In Jeremiah chapter 16 verse 14 and 15, the Most High declares that there is a time coming when he will be recognized no longer as the Most High that brought up the children of Israel from Egypt, but the Most High who gathered Israel from all nations, starting from the north, and all the nations where he had scattered them, and he will return them back to the land that he gave to their fathers. Now we realize that there is possibly a second Exodus, but to confirm this, let's also read Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 34. And I will bring you out from the people, and I will gather you out of the countries where you were scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people. There will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness in the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, says the Most High. Ezekiel chapter 20, verses 34 to 36, complements the message that we read in Jeremiah. It promises Elohim will bring the Israelites from among the nations where they were dispersed and gather them with great power and judgment. Elohim then says he will bring them into the wilderness of the people, and there he will engage with them directly, face to face, as he did with their ancestors in the wilderness after the Exodus from Egypt. This signifies a period of purification and renewal of the covenant before entering the promised land again. This period of the wilderness is about after the second Exodus. Just like they were met in the wilderness in the land of Egypt, they must be retaught the commandments again. You cannot go into the land before you understand the commandments. The people in the land must be keeping the commandments. We can clearly see that the Bible speaks of a second Exodus. If the Egypt is not the only Exodus, what are the characteristics of the second Exodus? And does it match what we read about in the first Exodus? And maybe this will clear up some of the confusion and why many people believe that the 400-year prophecy was already fulfilled. What are the characteristics of the first Exodus? Let's start by reading Exodus chapter 12, verse 35. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels and silver and gold and raiment. And the Most High gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. The verses mentioned in Exodus chapter 12, 35 and 36, before the Israelites' exodus from Egypt under Moses' leadership, describes how they secured valuables such as silver and gold and clothing from the Egyptians, following Moses' directive. Although the term borrowed is used, scholars often interpret this as a form of reparation for the Israelites' years of enslavement. Verse 36 highlights that Elohim granted the Israelites favor in the eyes of the Egyptians, who then freely gave them what they requested. The passage uses the term spoil to indicate the taking of these valuables, which is understood not as an act of theft, but as divine restitution for the Israelites' suffering. It's called reparations, or payment for services rendered. So now the question becomes, is there anything in the Bible about this happening again? Because according to the commenter, that they already received valuables and goods during this time of the Exodus from Egypt. So now the question becomes, is it going to happen again? Let's read Haggai chapter 2 verse 6. For thus saith the Most High of Hosts, yet once in a little while I will shake the heavens and the earth and the sea and the dry land, and I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come, and I will fill this house with glory, saith the Most High of Hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith the Most High of Hosts. The glory of this latter house shall be greater than the former, saith the Most High of Hosts. And in this place I will give peace, saith the Most High of Hosts. Elohim in Haggai chapter 2 verses 6 through 9 promises through the prophet Haggai that a time is coming where he will shake all creation and all nations, resulting in the enrichment and the glory of the third temple that is to be built. Elohim asserts his control over all the wealth of the world and reassures the people that the temple will be rebuilt with greater glory than Solomon's temple, and there will be a place where he will give the Israelites peace. This prophecy serves to encourage the Israelites who are struggling and trying to rebuild the second temple from their return from exile. He assures them of Elohim's presence with them and the significant role of the temple in a future date. When we look at this, it's very similar to what happened in Egypt, but on a greater scale or magnitude. Now let's read Isaiah chapter 60, verse 3. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and the kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together, they shall come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because of the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Most High. Jump down to verse 11. Therefore thy gates shall be opened continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. In Isaiah chapter 60, 3 through 6 and verse 11, the prophet Isaiah foretells of a future time of glory for Israel, when nations and kings will be drawn to the light and the divine brightness of Israel's restoration as a people, meaning that they have to be in a low state before this happens. Including the dispersed sons and daughters of Israel will return and be gathered in the land. When we read Ezekiel, we understand that they won't be regathered right away in the land. They have to go into the wilderness first. The country will experience great prosperity and wealth of the sea, and the resources of nations shall flow unto it. This will result in awe and expansive joy for Israel. The passage also describes a scene of abundant trade and tribute with camels, goods from distant lands like Midian, Ephah, and Sheba. These regions are known for their great wealth and spices, and precious items like gold and incense being brought to the honor of the Elohim of Israel. These verses speak of a universal recognition of Elohim's favor and the exaltation of his people. When you combine Isaiah with Haggai, you understand that this is the second Exodus, and that the Gentiles will have to bring their silver and their gold to pay reparations for the free labor that they have received. Silver and gold will be given to Israelites for their own wealth and for the fixing up of the third temple that must be built. This is the third and final temple that will be built under Yeshua after his return, after the war. Some people might say, well, maybe this happened already. So let's read Revelation chapter 21, verse 24. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut day or night, for there shall be no night there. And they shall bring the glory and the honor of the nations into it. In Revelation chapter 21, verses 24 to 26, the book describes the New Jerusalem in the vision of the future given to John. It's a place where the nations or the bloodlines that were not killed during the war will walk in the divine light, and the earthly rulers will contribute their splendor to it. The city's gates will never close, as there will be no night, symbolizing eternal safety and the continuous presence of Elohim. The people of the earth will bring their highest honor, glory, gold, jewel, money. All things valuable will be brought to the city. It suggests a continuous tribute and recognition of Elohim's supreme authority and majesty. The reason why the gates will not be shut is because there will be a continuous line of massive people bringing their wealth. When you combine Revelation and Isaiah, you will get a better picture. When you read Revelation 21 verse 25, it says, and the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day. And you compare that with Isaiah chapter 60:11. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. It's the same event. Revelation chapter 21 verse 26. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. And you compare that with Isaiah chapter 60 verse 6. And they shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Most High. These are all the same event. Isaiah, Revelation, Ezekiel, Genesis. It's easy to see that this is all the same event. I don't think anyone disagrees that Revelation chapter 21 and 22 are future events. In the future, the Gentiles give these exiled Israelites, after they are gathered, gold and their valuables, just like we read in the book of Exodus. We can't say that what happened in Genesis has been fulfilled already, knowing that in the future, this has to happen on a greater magnitude. So now we're going to tie back what happened in Luke, what Yeshua was talking about as a prophetic event. Luke chapter 21:22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things that are written may be fulfilled. Luke says that all things that were written may be fulfilled. This implies what we're reading in Luke has been previously documented. Therefore, we need to establish a connection to something that was written earlier. So how do we tie it back? The key question is, where can we find this prior reference? We should look. They will be led away captive into all nations. And we can tie that back to what we read in the Abrahamic prophecy. They will be strangers in a land that they do not know. When you're carried away to new nations, you will be a stranger in the land that you do not know. This is obviously the same event when you put all of it together. The book is all about this second Exodus and restoration. To sum this all up, what we find in Luke, Revelation, Isaiah, and Genesis are interconnected. It revolves around a significant theme in the Bible: the chosen bloodlines, disobedience to the Most High's commandments, resulting in divine punishment through a major captivity. And after this period of suffering, they will be regathered from the scattered places. And the Gentiles, or the other nations, will have to compensate them for their suffering and labor, and must pay them reparations, just like we read about in Egypt, except on a much larger scale. What happened in Egypt is going to seem small when this takes place. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.